Todd Shapiro Show, Canada Laughs, Sirius XM 168.
Do we have Jordan Sinclair on the line? Jordan?
I'm here. Yeah.
Hey, nice to talk to you again. How are things going?
Oh, it's wild. Wild like any normal week in the cannabis industry in Canada. Lots of exciting stuff going on. Like we just rolled out this program with the province of New Brunswick, so that we could educate a bunch of the retail people. So like for all your listeners out there, next summer when you go into a cannabis place and you buy a product for the first time, some of those stores across Canada are going to be privately run, but some of them are going to be run by governments. So what we're trying to do is just put together a bunch of education stuff so we can teach all of the kind folks in the government-run shops what cannabis is all about.
And that's a Canopy Growth initiative?
This is a Canopy thing, yeah. So I mean, we're kind of combining with them. So part of it is cannabis specific stuff. So we take like product knowledge and consumption and all that type of stuff, and we add that in, and then they add a little kind of New Brunswick specific info that's just about their province and the way that they do things, and that way we can do it all over the country, or we certainly hope we can.
It's the same plan for Manitoba, I believe, that province. Are they doing it also sort of more on, not through sort of like the LCBO model?
Yeah, so Manitoba, I think they're playing their cards a little close to the chest.
Okay.
The coolest one that we've seen so far is Newfoundland. So in Newfoundland, which is actually going to be totally private, we're going to have our own Tweed shops. So we're going to be able to run our own dispensaries in St. John's. So down on George Street, we've got people there this afternoon scoping out different locations, trying to figure out what would be the best spot. But every province will be a little bit different. And I guess what we're trying to do is just think ahead, right? So everyone is reading about cannabis and hearing about it on a day-to-day basis. But the behind-the-scenes stuff is just crazy, right? It's like if you've got this big organization that needs education, someone's got to provide that, right? So we figured we would put it together, and so far we think we did an okay job.
Well, speaking of education, I'm always so grateful to talk to sort of the leaders of the industry in the world, really the largest licensed producer, the largest legal grow up on the planet. And whether it's, through Shega Youngson or Bruce Linton himself, the CEO, or Adam Greenblatt. The one question I always seem to go to, and I can't get it, I can't get it off my head. So I'm going to ask you to, it's just this crazy that we're getting so close to legalization. Like, how are you guys comprehending all of this? Like, is it still so much to take in?
It is. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like the feeling of being engaged to be married. There's lots of planning. There's lots of kind of, dreaming about what the future is going to be, but you don't know exactly what it's going to be until that big moment. So yeah, I'd say the one thing that's really cool about it is just the energy. Like the team around here, we come in, we feed off each other, and every day it seems to be a little something new that's kind of groundbreaking. So it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. There's no doubt about that.
It's so exciting for you guys. Jordan Sinclair, obviously calling us from Canopy Growth. Now, we think just Canada sometimes we're pretty insular within our own country, but this is a global thing, and you guys are doing a bunch of Australian research too, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. So the good thing about where we are, our headquarters is close to Ottawa. So when foreign politicians come in, we're a really natural stopping point for them for that reason. So we had the agriculture minister from Australia, from the state of Victoria in Australia, popped in a little bit over a year ago. And we just kind of kept the dialogue warm to figure out what we might be able to do down there. A lot of countries are looking at Canada to figure out all these complex regulations. And what fit really well for us is that a part of her agriculture organization, they have this thing called AgriBio, which is a really, really world-leading kind of bioscience research facility. So that really great cannabis, like really great products, start all from great genetics. So you've got to find different strains and breed them together, so that you can get kind of like those different mix of varieties that you really like. And then we're just going to take that concept and put it on steroids with the team at AgriBio. So what we want to do is just figure out all these different, the different kind of like phenotyping and selective breeding and all these different things that'll end up being really good cannabis, strong genetics, and work together with them. And then because of that, we'll have a really good foothold down in Australia. So we're in a bunch of countries. And Australia is one of them, and that research angle is our entry point.
No problem to go down there, It's just to help out.
You should. It's easy to get people to raise their hand. Yeah, to volunteer. Yeah, everyone really wants to go to there or Jamaica for some reason.
And just to clarify, while you are essentially a drug company, the steroids was just an analogy.
Certainly, yeah. We're not actually. It'll be clean.
This is the most natural of medicines that we could ever have. The really nice part of all of this, really, and there's still some obviously who sort of have the stigma around marijuana, and that's clearly ending. But one of the things I think that people are going to be most grateful for down the road when we're sort of moving full steam ahead is all the jobs that are created. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We had Ernst & Young do a little report for us to figure out what sort of employment numbers we might need in the next couple of years and what the economic impact might be. We are going to, starting next week, have about 200 more job openings up just for our company alone. And we think that in the long term, we're going to be an employer that's around the 3,000 employee mark, if you can believe it. So we're talking big business, lots of job opportunities. And I'd say I'll use the opportunity to recruit if I can, if there's some passionate people out there. Please, come join us. Like there's a never-ending list of projects and great stuff to work on in a groundbreaking industry. And you can check us out at canopygrowth.com. There's a never-ending list of jobs that's on there all across the country.
I wish you actually maybe didn't say that on air, just told me off air first so I could apply. And then we'll get a real, not to talk really in terms of the business side of everything, but the one thing I did see, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up if you don't mind, how a major institution got involved with you, Bank of Montreal. Wow, major bank associated now with Canopy Growth. Does all this sort of stuff like the Constellation brands back in the day start to legitimize it, not for the people obviously understand the benefits of marijuana, but for a lot of the business world?
The business world, it is. Every single time that you have a story that's about cannabis and another organization that people already recognize, you start to chip away at the stigma. So whether it's pharmacies, banks, doctors, the LCBO, kind of anything that already has a good reputation in the minds of people or a credible reputation, then I think like we can kind of draft off of that a little bit. And then when you can convince them to do business with you, it's that next level. So BMO is gonna inject about $200 million, or them with another group of other banks are going to inject about $200 million into the business. And that's just to support the growth that we've got. But the credibility that comes with that is, that's a big part of the story. And it's funny, when you talk about the international side of it, I was tweeting the other day that when you're actually working in an international market, you're putting the announcement together, you're working really closely with people there on the ground. And it's kind of like sitting in a time machine, because you go back a couple of years and you realize that we actually are already making progress. Like ending stigma is not just something where you snap your fingers and it's done. It's a long, long iterative process. And we're already so far advanced. Everybody in Canada has just collectively, by talking and thinking about all of this, actually made a ton of progress. So it's really neat when you kind of take a step back, look at a different country, and already get the sense that we've done something really progressive already.
Since hockey, I don't think we've really taken the world by storm for anything. So it's like awesome. Well, this is great. Great update, Jordan. I always love when you join the program, and it's so nice to talk to you again. Let's definitely do this in the future. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and congrats to everything that Canopy Growth is doing. And a real personal thank you just to Tweed Main Street. I got my own medical license, and it's really helped me, just the CBD side of it, and calm down. I'm a very anxious guy. And I say that wholeheartedly. It's been a very pleasurable experience for me, and my wife especially. I'm not driving her as crazy. So.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, man. And thanks for the follow on Twitter too. That means a lot too.
Oh, come on. Okay, cheers. I look forward to having you back on very soon.
Thanks.
Okay, have a great weekend.
Okay, bye.
The Todd Shapiro Show, Canada Laughs, Sirius XM 168.